live from Pahrump. Did I do that right? Live
I
from
do it
Pahrump?
one more time.
Early? Okay, live from
There we go.
Pahrump, Valley of the Dirt People. Home of more Husabergs per capita than any other city in the United States. I'm positive about this now. This is Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. This is the show where we talk about motorcycle and motorcycle-related products. My name is Jimmy Lewis. I'm a washed-up ex-motorcycle racer, former journalist. I teach motorcycle riding schools now, like most washed-up riders. And Matt, I'm complimenting on your shirt tonight.
Thank you. We're kind of similar. Dress
right.
code tonight.
I think mine's a nicer, softer material. No, is yours
No,
that soft material?
I have a nicer, softer material, but mine's starting to show its wear. I've had this one for about 18 months now. I think I might need to trade it in for a new one.
Yeah, you should wear more than one shirt in your life.
I just get so proud to represent.
The Seat Concepts Hot Seat Hotline is open tonight. It's done via a Zoom chat, so we are going to share that in the chat. So it will go up in both on Facebook and YouTube, and you can link into that, and then Matt will screen you, essentially.
It's in the description as well. The prerequisite for you coming on live is you need to put your question in the chat. Otherwise, you will not be brought on live.
Right. So yeah, go into the chat, put your question up in the chat, and then come on. You'll be on the he'll see you on the screening thing. Mm-hmm. And Mark Daniels. I feel, yeah. So okay. So that donkey, that Ricky Brabeck guy.
I thought it was. Is it Brabeck?
Brabeck. Yeah. Well, no. That's what my phone calls him.
Okay.
So he was here that day, and he had to take off, and then I found out it was Valentine's Day, so it was a pretty understandable reason to take off. Mm-hmm. And then like the next day, he had to fly out to go to Dubai, yeah. So he was on a mission. So it didn't get signed. So I totally screwed up because all I was doing was just insulting him the whole time, telling him, "Oh, you're so pee-whipped, you have to run away." And and actually, I didn't even know it was Valentine's Day.
yeah.
So I know it's in good fun. And just for that, I will reward myself with a shot of nice tequila on your behalf because it's Tech Talk Taco Tuesday and tequila night here in Pahrump.
Yeah.
So
for some of us,
hey, super stoked on all the people joining in. We had we did something last week because I was down in Baja. Mm-hmm. I did the course verification for the Nora Mexico 1000 for the motorcycles, and so I did a peninsula run essentially. Yeah. Was gone for 5 days, 7 really total, driving to the border and however we did it. So did that, was busy, making sure that those road books are going to be good. Spent a lot of time on the motorcycle, which is great. So had some fun times there, I think, but it was work, a lot of work. And yeah, they couldn't make the days long enough in daylight, and they also couldn't make the you broke the TV. Good. Okay, we're back. so yeah, a lot of miles. Pretty happy with how we turned out. And then I'm going to talk about my addiction tonight. I really have to kind of break this down a little bit, explain it to everybody. So we got a lot of stuff. It's a big horsepower show, is what I like to say. So
I feel like you could end up on like one of those My Strange Addiction shows.
It's going to be more like behind the music.
Got it. And
because I think, how you're just peaking, everything's going great. Mm-hmm. And then you have to hit rock bottom somehow.
Yeah.
I think we're somewhere I don't know where we're at. We could be either point. That's the problem, is I don't know. But so we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So yes, the Seat Concepts Hot Seat Hotline. You click in the link in the chat, put your question in the thing.
Yep, it is in the chat. It's also in the description of the video.
Somebody said it's where they filmed The Eyes Have.
Hills
Have Eyes. Is that Pahrump?
No, Pahrump gives the vibe of that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're on that new cop show that they don't call cops anymore. Mm-hmm. We're on that one, and I keep getting my friends that tell me it's like, hey, you should go be like a Willy Boys,
Yeah, yeah.
and get chased around. Hey, you notice the Willy boys don't come around anymore?
No, yeah.
Notice because I gave them shit.
You gave him shit. Got it.
Well, I mean, they'd Willy by here, and I just talk shit on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it got back to them. I heard this. It got back to them.
Yeah.
And they thought they were all badass wheelie guys, and I said they were not very bad. There's one guy that could actually pull wheelies. The other ones were all just janky wheelie weenies.
Yeah,
they couldn't do it, and it stopped because they got insulted.
Right.
But the funny thing is it's kind of starting back up, and I don't know if these wheelie boys know this. The other guys knew who I was, and they were doing it just to hey, we're gonna go ride by when he's doing his show and make wheelie noises.
Mm-hmm.
So there's new wheelie boys. There's new wheelie weenies in town.
Oh boy!
And they really suck.
Oh
These
really?
guys they can't even they don't even see like maybe 9 o'clock. They're kind of like power wheelie guys, but they usually bog, or they wheelie and then they loop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which
so
I got a video to show you after the show, by the way.
I've never seen a loop out. But when I saw like Wheelie Weenie number 7 or something cruising with his subframe all bent up and his fender, I just guyed that guy. Yeah, guy.
Yeah. I think my favorite wheelie boy I ever seen was a guy I just met out in the desert, and he had no rear fender. And I asked him, "Hey, where's your rear fender?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I like to do wheelies." Yeah. And you know what?
Maybe it's the same guy. KX?
It could be. No, this guy was on a YZ250. This was like back when I was in high school.
Ooh.
This is at least 5 or 6 years ago.
Right. Hey, well, this show would not be possible to help with some great sponsors. We're Blue Crew.
Yeah, I rode Blue Crew.
I'm currently a T7 Tenere 700 guy. You are a YZ250 FX guy.
Yeah, loving it.
Super Blue Crew. I'm not exclusively Blue Crew, but I do ride a lot of Blue Crew, and I'm happy about it. So thanks to Yamaha for supporting the show. Go to YamahaMotorsports.com. They win everything. Bikes are winning a lot. Taco Moto, big sponsor. They sponsor our Roost or Endo segment. If you're not familiar with Roost or Endo, this is a segment at the end of the show, kind of in our second half typically. We mix it up. We have a really strict format here that we never follow.
It's a tight ship that goes around its course loosely.
Right. It's like a sailboat in a vacuum.
I'm not following that one.
Okay, good.
Not your best one.
Yeah, just it wouldn't work.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just like this show. So we're talking about motorcycle-related products. Takamoto sponsors Roost or Endo. Roost or Endo is where you send in a picture of your bike. You tell us the modifications you've done to it. Just give us a list. Year, make, and model. This is important. Your name, your year, make, and model, and a nice picture of your bike. And if you've watched the segment before, you'll know that we pick on your picture, or we read a lot into it, and we usually do 4 or 5, whatever, per show.
Yeah,
we got a $100 gift certificate from Takamoto for the winner. And the winner is the one that provides us the most entertainment, or it could be the best bike. Doesn't really matter. It could be the worst. It could be the worst bike, or it's the guy that I insult the most on accident. So, Roost or Endo, brought to you by Takamoto. Of course, we're big supporters of Climb, and I was really comfy today, going 107 miles an hour in my Climb gear. Yep. You want to know why I went 107 miles an hour? No.
I think we'll find out later.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Scott Sports. I was wearing Scott Sports goggles when I was doing 107, and my eyes weren't watering. DDC, makers of fine chain wheels. I just got a whole bunch of KTM 50s. I'm super stoked because I can get rid of some of the 48s.
So KTM 50 tooth sprockets.
50 tooth sprockets,
okay.
Yeah.
Because when you said KTM 50s, I was like, oh wait, I didn't.
They just came back in stock, so
nice.
it's good.
Nice.
So I got those. I'm basically I got a couple newer bikes. Had to get those junky stock sprockets or other aftermarket sprockets off. Trail Tech used a Voyager Pro all the way down to Cabo. Actually, we did too. Me and Mike Shirley were buddy tracking each other. Mike from Rally Navigator. Rally Navigator, the best rally navigation software known to man. They're always improving it. Every day they make improvements.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants something else and better and different. Like I constantly complain about it. even though it's the best out there. It's
Well,
and
you complaining about it is what makes it the best out there.
there's a lot of people that are doing the same thing. But but it's just it's come so far. And so if you really want to make a good road book, go to rallynavigator.com. Fasst Company. I put the little Fasst Company brake return spring on my KTM 500 that I rode down there.
Okay.
And I'm super happy with that. So they make, of course, flex handlebars. There's no way I can ride day after day after day. And my wrists are a little swollen. It's because I rode something today without flex handlebars. And I'm starting to feel it. Seat Concepts, bringing you the Hot Seat Hotline. That is up in the chat, boys and girls, if you want to call into the show.
I had someone ride a rental bike today with the Seat Concept seat, and they commented on it. It was like, wow, this is a really comfortable seat.
Yeah, especially if you've come off of stock onto something like one of their comfort seats. I run the tall seat on my Tenere 700. Love it. It's tall and comfortable and extra comfortable. So they make a lot of different seats. They'll basically fit your needs, whatever they are. And bulletproof designs, makers of fine protection products for your dirt bike. I'm loving their radiator guards I have on a couple of the bikes, and especially that little chain guide protector on the KTMs is kind of a vital thing if you're going to be bashing it through the rocks. Double take mirrors. I cleaned myself up, did a little shaving today.
Oh, really?
How do you think I know how I got the back of my head?
You just double take mirror?
Double take mirror. That's right. They're on my dirt bikes. They're in my bathroom. So right on to all of our sponsors. I'd like to thank everybody that helps us out. If you want to help us out, you can always click through our Rocky Mountain ATVMC links. That's super helpful.
Very helpful.
Those are up on the dirtbiketest.com. We have Amazon link up there. If you're shopping on Amazon, buying whatever crazy stuff you guys are buying, gives us a little cut, and we really do appreciate it. It makes it so that I can pay Matt.
And yourself. It helps you buy the bikes that
it helps,
we're going to talk about later.
Helps me subsidize my bad habit. It doesn't really pay. This doesn't pay. It's we're trying to make it pay. We're getting better.
Oh, yeah, it's getting better. And I just on the topic of getting paid, I want to say thank you everyone for the support. Looking at the analytics, it's actually growing. Like, we're seeing meaningful results.
Yeah,
from everyone sharing. I appreciate everyone.
Yeah, tell your friend, if they hear you listen to it, or you're listening to it and say, hey, these guys are actually, they're a bunch of donkeys, but I do learn something on each show. So we're going to try to dive into the weeds here with the questions. I'm just going to straight into the questions. I'll stop telling stories, but I do want to thank our sponsors. Like I said, they do make it possible. Double Take Mirrors, Bulletproof Design, Seat Concepts, Fasst Company, Trail Tech, DDC, Climb, Scott Sports, Takamoto, and of course, Yamaha. And if you want to learn how to ride a dirt bike better, become a better rider, I know a guy named Jimmy Lewis.
Yeah.
I have to live with this jerky all the time. And he can help you. In fact, I was actually going to go out on a limb and say that if you want to sign up for my class, you want to come to my class, I have one in a couple weeks. It's like 2 weeks. And you put, like, if you sign up and you put Tech Talk Taco Tuesday as your age or something, like, I don't know if it'll allow you to do that in this sign up form. I was going to give you a money back guarantee that you have to wait 6 months. But if you wait 6 months and you come back to me and you give me a good, valid reason why this class did not make you a better rider and make you completely rethink the way that you ride and make you have more fun, use less energy, become quicker, whatever you want to do, I'll give you your money back. Or you can prorate me, because the class costs $1,000. But if you want to come into this class and take this class, we have some openings. In 6 months, if you take this class and you send me a nice email that explains why you didn't feel like you got your $1,000 value, like it wasn't better than your exhaust pipe or your ECU that you bought, I'll bet you, like this is what I'm betting you right now, that you would learn something. And I'm not kidding, because I'm passionate about it. I like to see people, because I had a couple people, like Mike Shirley took a class a couple of years ago, and he was commenting the whole time down in Baja, how much it's changed the way he's riding, because he had no idea. He'd been riding for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
And he had no idea. And he was asking me about like certain things, just these questions. And he goes, because in the class you said this, and I've been doing this. And I'm like, oh, that's close, but you're doing it just a little bit wrong. So it's kind of like a tune-up. And he's like, I need to come back and take it again. So, anyways, a plug for my school. They're my main sponsor.
The riding school.
They allow me to be here.
Yeah. That's why we're both wearing their shirt right now.
Well, because I got it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we'll dive into the
Dave
questions.
Donnelly. Hey, Dave, you follow me on social media. Right on. You blew in the chat. We were trying to keep it a little secret, and Dave went and
exposed
it. But that's why you got to look at the chat every once in a while. That's what's fun about this live show. There's a lot of dynamics going on.
Yeah. And if you put your question in the chat, we'll get to it. But we'll start off with some questions.
628 Motorsports has one. Jimmy, one issue that seems to be rammed at us are e-bikes. Oh yeah, we need to talk about the IMS show. Do you have that on your notes? The International Motorcycle Show we went to 2 weeks ago that we haven't had a show since. AIM.
Yeah.
AIM. American International Motorcycle Show.
Yeah.
AIM,
we can talk about that.
Yeah,
we can talk about the KTM free ride that wasn't a KTM free ride, but it has some of the things we wanted the free ride to have.
I don't know about that. When it seems to be rammed down us are e-bikes. I believe, without being a Luddite, that EVs are a very bad thing. What do you think the effect of electric dirt bikes will be? I think they released a new one today.
Yeah,
an 85. It's like a Flux or something like that, or a Flux, or
85 horsepower.
85. It's 5 more than the Stark Varg.
And
And they said, hey, we're not going to tease you. We're just going to show you our prototype.
Yep.
Which is like, no, you're teasing us. Why don't you show us your dealer network and your charging stations and your production line that's loaded with parts and ready to go?
Yep.
And then I'll believe it. Because if you just got 5 more horsepower in the Varg, who cares? Because you can't use 85 horsepower. I'm telling you that from a guy who rode a bike that probably had 70 horsepower today and a lot of stinking torque. You can't use it. Oh, it's fun. It's really fun. But so what do I think the effect of electric bikes will be? I don't think they're ready for prime time just yet. But when electric comes, and it's going to be a learning curve, just like 4-strokes were, just like 2-strokes were back when there was 4-strokes, and back vice versa, all this other stuff. Just like fuel injection, just like everything, it's going to be a learning curve. But when they come, and when they're ready for prime time, they're going to be great. I don't know that you'll have the kind of range that we have on, quote, a large tank rally bike. That might be a little far reaching. But for going to tracks, doing all the stuff, closed course stuff, nearby where you can have charging facilities and stuff like that, I think it's going to be really good. I don't know, like, the net green carbon effect, all this other stuff, but they're going to figure it out, and it's going to be better than gas motors, just like fuel injection was better than carburation.
Yep.
It's going to take some time. But this is it's just the way it is. Well, and they're some of the stuff's pretty cool right now. The Alta, like Aaron's talking about. Yeah, Aaron, that Alta, that was a really good bike. And there's nothing to say that the Start can't be a great bike, and this fizz off or whatever it's going to be. Nothing to say it can't be a great bike, but let's see it. Don't march it around in vaporware and hope that investors come in and try to, it's a dream for someone to have a company and build all this stuff, and you're going to have a hard time competing with the current manufacturers and some of these Chinese companies that are coming out of nowhere building these bicycles. A lot of what we saw at the show, they are going to get it as well. Yeah. Somebody's going to figure it out and figure out how to make something that they can sell a lot of. Look at the Surons and the Stingrays and the Segways and all the
and the Surons are proving a point that I'll make it after yours.
No, make your point.
So, electric. With how simple it is to ride an electric bike versus a traditional gas bike, the clutch, the shifting, right? And let's say with with a gas engine, you're kind of stuck at a certain throttle response, right? Unless you have a tuner readily available. But if you're new to riding, you don't really know how to use a tuner, I'm going to assume.
Right.
Electric bikes are how you grow the sport and you make it more accessible as well. Like, not just from an emissions standpoint, not just from a noise standpoint, just from how simple it is to hop on and use versus needing to learn how to use a clutch, learning the shifting, RPM ranges, all these other nuances. That's kind of out the window.
Right.
It's just hop on it, twist a throttle, worry about your front and your rear brake. Maybe there's a clutch, maybe there's not.
So Josh says that because of that, it's going to burn down everybody's house. Yeah. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, that's why you don't listen to the internet too much.
Yeah.
Because they're all going to burn down your house.
And I agree with you. I agree with the point that, when it comes to the green stuff, not 100% sure on that. But I do come at it from a point of that, would you agree that KTM Freeride on its first power mode, that was really easy to learn how to use a twist throttle?
Oh yeah,
yeah. In my opinion, it's the best. It's the best out there for that.
They're great beginner bikes. Like I said, none of the tricky stuff. And I mean, maybe that's good, maybe it's bad because it's going to let more people. It's I don't know. You got to. There's a whole lot of range of things, but we need to get people in the sport and keep people in the sport. We need to keep the sport active. Number one, and I think the electric is going to open that. Kids are growing up and they're going to stay with electric. They're never going to go onto gas bikes. They're never going to get to ride a Husaberg 650. They're never, ever going to feel that kind of torque and power. Never. And then, of course, those bikes will all be blown up by then, but they won't even get to ride a Husaberg 570 because they'll be banned. It'll be like that Rush song, the Red Barchetta.
Ooh, I don't know the name of the Rush song.
Yeah, but it talks about, out in a futuristic world driving a gas car and racing away from the police. But yes, and Victor, yes, you have to wear Crocs to match your e-bike. It's you have to. There's like a graphics package that comes with your Crocs to get it. So good to see Victor back, one of our locals on the show. Yeah, we saw the Cove 450. Remember that thing?
Yeah, that thing was pretty sweet
at Rooster at the AIM show. That's another thing. That's another China thing. They looked like they went and did Dakar with it. So pretty good.
They finished, right?
They finished. And somebody says that China tried to wreck our way of life. Everybody's trying to wreck our way of life, man. Like, we're the United States. Everybody hates us. They hate the guys on top. So that's okay. And Hollywood Movie Bike says Freeride Super Mini is leading the way right now. That's I think that's the guy who we talked to on the show a couple shows ago.
Yeah, that was Andy from Dirt First Racing.
Right. And if you are wanting to follow some archives, you can always check out, on our podcasts and different things. There's archives of this show. If you find this one interesting and you say, I wonder what they talked about last week.
And that's actually the show that was rebroadcasted last week. So
right.
So if it's pretty fresh in the podcast feed.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, okay, what's our first question?
First question is going to come from Cameron Harris, and he was asking this in the chat last week, but it was a pre-recorded show, so we couldn't get to it. So it's a question about recluse adjustment on a 350 that has a high idle. He needs to run a high idle for hot starts and flame out issues.
No, he doesn't.
But it makes the challenges for setting the appropriate gain. Which stiffness or springs would you run in the recluse with a high idle? Maybe you can also comment on which recluse springs that you run and why. Okay.
So something's screwed up with your 350 if you need to run a high idle, unless it's an old. Were the first KTM 350s kickstart? I can't even remember. It maybe if it's a kickstart and maybe there's some issues. That sounds a little bit off, but anyways. So I don't think so running the high idle, there's another problem, and you should probably fix that first. And yes, it does make a challenge for setting the appropriate gain. But so I can't tell you which springs would I run because it depends on what you're running and what springs are in there. So you have to, and I did. I went on my I took a picture for my reference of my memories here let's see. I'll get it. I pulled up a picture. So basically, in the Recluse spring line, it's steel, which is silver. It's dull. It's steel, silver, red, blue, and gold. Those are the levels of springs. And so the softest one is steel, and then the gold one is the stiffest. So you figure out what you have in there. And then you decide, what do I want the clutch to do? The heavier the springs, the longer the clutch slips, or the longer it takes for it to engage, in other words. So they're holding it closed longer. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to optimize your spring for your RPM. And then the other thing, and I think on the 350, I think you're already at the heaviest weights, so you can't adjust the wedges, the weights. So you have to just do it 100% with springs. But the problem with the high idle is that it's going to be trying to engage all the time if it's compared to like a standard, compared to your standard, we'll call it setting. So that means you're going to need slightly stiffer springs than probably what Recluse recommends, so that it disengages and doesn't drag. So I run basically, and I don't know, I think on the 350s we're down to almost all steels, or a mixture of 3 steels and 3 silvers. I don't remember. I've just done 2 or 3 of these, and I know they were different. But I know we are using a lot of steel springs because someone bought me a set of steel springs because I used all mine up. So I run, but my 350 idles at normal idle, and when it's idling at normal idle, the clutch is literally dragging. So you can see it. It doesn't, when you put it in gear, it doesn't creep, but it lifts the chain into a straight. It literally pulls the chain, but it doesn't make the chain slap. And if you get it adjusted just perfect, and that's with the springs and the free play gain adjustment, which is, Recluse doesn't like you to do it, but you can adjust the way it engages a little bit with the free play gain adjustment. You still have to have some free play gain, which is when you rev it, the lever needs to come in. Hopefully this all is making sense. But that's, they're very, very adjustable, and it's each adjustment, each bike is a little bit different. Make sure you have clutch plates that aren't warped. Make sure your metal plates aren't warped. Your fibers are good. The basket's straight. All the things, because if one of those things is wrong, the Recluse doesn't work very well. So that's my suggestion for you on that. So, okay,
perfect.
My live video ended on the YouTubes. I think I canceled them.
Oh, got it.
Because wait, this is Instagram.
Instagram.
That's right. Got it.
So Steve is actually on our Hot Seat Hotline, and he wants to talk about maintenance routine on 4-strokes.
Hey, Steve, welcome to the show.
Jimmy, nice to talk to you. Finally.
Yeah, thanks for joining in. You're in your shop there.
Yes.
I see a gas.
Yes.
It's a 2-stroke.
Yes.
It's good. It burns gas. Wait. That's a
501.
That's a Husky. I saw the yellow in the background. I'm going, wait, he's got a Husaberg. I was going to ask if you want to sell it. Just kidding. So what's the question?
My question to you is, can you talk about your maintenance routine for your 4-stroke dirt bikes, including your preventative and your inspections, like routine inspections? What do you look at?
So I'm not by the book. My basic routine, and we're talking about like 40 rental bikes and like probably 10 bikes that I ride on a regular basis. I pretty much, when I change the oil, I put the month and year on it. So there's a lot of rotation going on. And then I have an idea when it was done, and then I sort of know how much I ride them. But so if I took a bike, like a bike left here last week, and I put brand new oil and brand new filter in. Actually, I'm testing one of those magnetic filters from Moto, and I've been kind of pulling it in and out of bikes to see like how much, if I put it in a bike that didn't have it in there, how much stuff it pulls out, and then I put a filter in, and I'm going to cut the filters and really clean them. So I can kind of tell when oil starts getting bad by the way the clutch works a little bit. You know, it seems like that the clutch gets a little bit grabby, and even the recluses tend to act a little bit different. But also the color is pretty much a tell. When I can just look in the window and kind of see what the color is. But so that bike went down there and we rode it for 5 days, and it was over 1,000 miles, and I don't know how much hours on it, but when it comes back, I'm going to change the oil. And this is the way I've done my maintenance on, like, if it was a race bike, every race I would change the oil. That's just kind of, it was just part of the routine. Our rental bikes probably go 6 months to a year, depending on how much they get used, because they're used for 2 days in a row, and then they may sit for 2 months and they get used for 2 more days because we kind of rotate them in and out. And it's like when they a lot of times I'll start it up, run it, I'll pull the filler cap off, and I'll just dab it onto a paper towel, and I'll see how dark it is. If it's more like, there's a change when it goes from brown to black, kind of ish, and that's bad. Like, I don't want it to be black. I want it to kind of have some brown tint to it. So that's kind of my routine. And I always say you can never go wrong by doing what the manual says. That's the golden rule. But then it's like, how do you ride it? I know people that can cook oil, because they abuse the clutch mostly, in maybe a third of the time or half of the time that the manual says for them to do it. And there's other people that can get 4 times the length of time that the oil needs to be changed. And I'm one of those people because I don't really use the clutch a whole lot. So I don't know if, like running it hard. People say, oh, I'm running it hard. And you can be a novice and run it harder than a pro just based on what you're doing. And how much moisture is in the air where you're at. Because, oil, if there's breathers and moisture gets in, how much silt or sand. We're very silty here. So I'm always concerned with how much, silt is getting pulled in through different methods. So that's kind of what it is. Like I said, I'm not like doing anything by the book. We kind of keep records on a lot of our bikes, but a lot of the records have been for years. Now Matt made a spreadsheet for me, which is really nice. But a lot of my records were just, it says, it would say right now, it'd say 02-23, and I do one for oil, one for filter, and my routine has pretty much always been one filter every 2 oil changes. So,
does that change with the amount of hours you put on the oil?
No, I mean, I probably, in the first oil change, I'll do an oil filter when the bike's brand new. I'll do an oil filter, and then I kind of get on that every second oil change, and I'm always looking at the oil filter and the magnet. If on the KTM stuff, there's the magnet on the drain plug, and I was even putting magnets in my Hondas and my Yamahas and stuff. The magnet drain plug, because that's gonna, between that and the filter, it's gonna tell you what's going on inside there. If you're not getting any particulate matter off of those 2 things, you're fine. And if you run it a little bit too long and you notice that you're getting a little more, and it's like iron filings. They're super fine. It's like you can put it in your hand, you can smear it, or you notice there's like pieces of aluminum or something like that. Maybe you went a little bit too long. So I think you can get a feel for it, but the manual's very conservative in my opinion. So does that answer the question?
So it seems like you really concentrate on that oil aspect, but how about like brake fluids, bearings, head bearings, swing arm bearings?
Super dependent. Yeah, super dependent on where you live, what you're riding in, like wheel bearings. And if you're in that muddy, like I know I raced in Oklahoma once, and we were going through brake pads in 2 sets of brake pads a day, and it was just their dirt was like lapping compound, and I've noticed just in places we've ridden in Idaho where like all of a sudden you wear brake pads in a half of a pad in a day just because it was muddy and silty and stuff. So I just kind of check everything, and it really depends on where you're at. So here we do a lot more filters than I think you would have to do if you were, for say, riding in good loamy, moist dirt. I know when we were riding in wet dirt up in the mountains of California, I wouldn't have to do a filter for 5-6 rides, and then you come out here and you ride in the silt for a day. But it's I think it's all just kind of dependent on where you're at, and then how much how much it's like kind of like how much time do you have? I mean, some people really enjoy working on their bikes and taking the time to do all these things. And I open up an air filter, and if it looks like it's still got another day in it, I close that sucker right back up. So I don't have to see a perfectly good air filter inside there. So
Cool.
But yeah, wheel bearings. I just check things. A lot of times I'll grab the wheel and try to shake it side to side, or I grab the front brake and I'll pivot the bike with the front brake on to feel how the headset's doing. But I do take bikes apart and grease stuff when I feel the need. But we don't have a lot of water going through them, and I beat up these kids here when they start pressure washing the bearings. And I think that's the worst thing for them, really, is just blasting with a pressure washer. So
Cool. Thanks for your time.
yeah, no, I appreciate you watching, and thanks for reaching out.
Okay.
Why do you have Stockholm syndrome, Matt?
I don't know. It's not really.
I'm not sure what that is. I forgot.
I think that's basically when you get kidnapped, and then you start feeling sympathy for for those who've kidnapped you, or you're starting to emphasize.
Oh,
start to
wow.
agree with them. So, actually, we do have another question. We have another person on the Hot Seat Hotline. We'll go and we'll get to them really quickly.
Okay.
I don't have the real name, but they have a 500 that suddenly started running badly. So, welcome on to the show.
We don't have the real name. He'll tell us.
Yeah, it's on here as Revere 411. Revere.
Revere. Welcome to the show.
Yes.
So what's the question tonight?
Well, Matt screwed up the last name both times, and the question is, Roost or Endo?
The question is, you want to know how to be in Roost or Endo?
No, I've been in Roost or Endo twice, and Matt screwed the last name up twice, so it's Revere.
Revere. I remember you even actually emailed me about it, how to pronounce it, and then I still messed it up.
Awesome.
So
nice job, Matt.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Jimmy, thanks for doing the Roost or Endo thing. My question is, I got 2021 KTM 500.
Were you the one that forced your children? First of all, you weren't the one that forced your children to submit Roost or Endos, were you?
No, my wife.
Oh, your wife did. Oh, you brought you submitted your wife's bike.
Got it.
Copy. Okay, I get confused, and this is normal.
Well,
but
I'm glad we clarified it. That he submitted his wife's bike and not his wife.
His wife. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Back to your 500.
Okay, it's 2021, and it's got the full Taco Moto ECU fuel tuner, Yosh exhaust. And it's got 330 hours on it. And just recently, it started shutting itself off. When you let the throttle off, it'll just quit. I've replaced the fuel pump, the injector.
When are you going to say throttle position? When are you going to say the throttle? You didn't calibrate the throttle position sensor or check that?
I have not done that.
That's it.
That's it?
I'm 99% sure that it has something to do with this throttle position sensor, and or somehow the idle adjustment and hot start. So there's the two knobs. There's the red and the yellow knob.
Yeah.
I've seen people mess those things up, and I don't know how to do it. except that I did know how to do it, and I wrote exactly how to do it on dirtbiketest.com.
Okay.
There's a thing, set your idle or something like this.
I think it's KTM throttle body tuner.
KTM throttle body tuning. So check this, and then check to make sure that your throttle position sensor is putting out the right voltage to the ECU, because that is critical. It needs to know what it is, and especially when it does something funky, it doesn't know what to do with the fueling and the ignition timing at idle. And so, the worst thing it can do is put out polluted air. So its default is, if I'm going to do something wrong, I'm going to shut off. And that's a KTM default, not a Get ECU default.
Okay.
But I think somehow that's sort of what they do. But I check the idle real quick, just check the idle adjust, because I've seen people turn the yellow knob thinking it's the idle adjust, and it's really kind of a hot start button. So give that a shot, and then check your ECU or your throttle position sensor.
Yeah, because the bike ran perfectly for about 326 hours, and then just recently it started doing it. The thing's been immaculately maintained. There's air filter oil religiously. It's a very sudden, weird thing that started happening.
Yes, sensors can go bad.
Yep.
Sensors can and will go bad, but also they can get knocked, or just they can come a little bit out of tune. And I've seen all of the above happen, but I would just start with the simplest things and go from there. And did it happen all of a sudden, or did it progressively get worse?
No, all of a sudden, just one day, it rode out of.
It may have just, they've just got knocked. I mean, like I said, if you haven't turned those knobs, and I've seen people that like that hot start, the yellow one is like a push button thing.
Yep.
It's you push it up, and then you crack the throttle and it drops back down. I've seen those get hit and bent before, from like a stick going in there, and then that causes all kinds of problems. Then they go and adjust the
first time it happened, I was actually just leaving Ensenada like 3 weeks ago, and just rolled out of the hotel, San Nicolas, and it started barfing and puking. And so I started blaming fuel and filters and pumps and injectors and whatnot, but I've changed all that. So I'm going to go with the throttle position sensor.
Yeah, check that out. And I think through the Get app, I'm pretty sure, and I don't have a lot of experience with it, but I know on the newer ones, I think you can actually, through the app, you can monitor that or watch that or see that. And so that might be an option as well.
Okay, well, that's good. I learned something.
And
hopefully,
if I didn't help you, reach out to Taco Mike on his EXC performance group there.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure you'll get he'll give you the answer there as well.
Right on.
Okay, thanks for joining in.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you. I'll get your name right eventually. I apologize.
It's all good, Matt. I still got to talk about suspension lowering on a beta, but that's next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good. We'll see you.
Okay, what's our next question there, Matt?
All right, next question is going to be from Mr. Todd Kelly. He was saying, can you give me your opinion of the T7 highway speeds? He's a dirt bike guy at heart, but gave up street riding around 10 years ago. But now he's getting back into it because he needs to commute on a bike, mostly backcountry roads.
So, it's these 30-mile interstate house. So the only downfall of the T7 so far, in my opinion, the only real like kind of fault, and it's not really a fault. It's just that it's a 700cc bike that you want it to go the same speed as your 1000cc bike. And so it'll go pretty much that fast. It'll just eat a lot of gas. Your fuel economy goes from like 60 down to, 35. And 35 miles a gallon is not that bad, but it's not great when you're used to getting like 50 to 60 all the time. Mm-hmm. And that does take like 75 to 85 miles an hour to kind of really, where it kind of really starts falling off at 70, and then it get, the farther you turn the throttle, and it'll go 100 miles an hour. And how is it? It depends on how tall you are and where the windscreen is. Because for me, the windscreen is just a tad too low, but then I'm running tall seat. If I was in the stock seat, I would be in the perfect little bucket, but that tall seat kind of puts me up in the wind a little bit. But I don't do a ton of highway, and when I do, I I go low boy, get all low boy on it, like down here like this.
Yeah.
And so it's a fun bike, and it like I said, if you the funny thing is when you if you're going to use it as a commuter, you aspire to go do all these different ways to work, and you'll do that a few times, but in reality you're just going to be buzzing back and forth the fastest way. And so just kind of take that into consideration. But I mean, it'll do it. It does it no problem. You just 35 miles a gallon. If you're happy with that, then you're going to be happy with the thing.
Perfect.
So,
all right. So another question from last week. So Michael Pounds was asking, Jimmy, can you talk/explain what power valves are in a two-stroke, how they work, and how they change the engine's power?
Yes, I can. Real easy. So a power valve is essentially, it's a variable height exhaust port and a variable volume exhaust port. And then it also changes, depending on the models and stuff, it changes the volume of the expansion chamber by opening up subports in the sides of the, kind of like they're in the sides of the cylinder. It opens up extra cavities. So it does a lot. They do a lot of things, and they've done them a lot of different ways. They put them inside, on some of the Hondas. They used to be down inside of the, they'd turn a little valve in the kind of a pre-pipe, and in certain ones, they, as well as lifting up the size of the exhaust port, they'd open up two little subports. Kawasaki was kind of first at that one that I recall. But so it's essentially the higher RPM, the higher you want the exhaust port to a certain point, because you want it to rev. Because of a lower exhaust port, it's just never going to pick up RPM. But if you have a tall exhaust port, the bikes, like they get really peaky. They don't want to have good low end. And now with like electronic power valves, you have this crazy ability to control it very quickly. And it's not just engine RPM dependent. All the mechanical power valves have all been based on a ramp ball system. So they were very progressive in how they moved. It was super RPM dependent, and they were generally pretty quick to open. They didn't have different steps. I mean, I've seen ones that have different steps or different ramps to control it. But so that's what essentially they do. And the biggest thing you're going to see is with the electronic power valve, like on the KTMs and the Shercos, is you're going to get longer and longer power bands, because they can control how long they keep it closed, and then they can open it, they can modulate it a little bit better at different RPMs, and it's crazy how good that's going to get. And they're still learning about this. They're still learning, especially with fuel injection. Now they can adjust the fuel as well as the power valve height and make these even better.
Right, because if they're both electronically controlled, that's just even more
tunability.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, so moving to some Instagram questions that were sent in or commented, actually. So from Eichel Poloski, saying, can you explain how oil separates from the fuel to lubricate the bottom end of a two-stroke motor?
That's El Chibowski.
El Chibowski. Sorry.
That's Herm. I'm
unfamiliar with Herm.
Can you explain how the oil comes out of the gas to lubricate? This is a Chris Real question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for sure. But you think about it. Have you ever spilt like normal gas, and it just like it spills out of the top of your can, and it runs down the can, and it dries out, there's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you spill your two-stroke mixed gas, and then all of a sudden you notice your gas can's covered with dust.
Yeah,
because it sticks to it. It's just mixed, and when it's whatever it touches, because the gas is, it's like a mist. It's like you squirt, like when you're squirting the Windex on the window, like this. This is the way the gas is, and it goes there and it sticks, and so just like the water, just like it's air and water, stuff, when it goes, it's flying around there.
Yeah.
Some of it stays in suspension and it never even touches anything, and other stuff goes and hits something, and then it sticks to it, and then the gas and the oil kind of stick to it, but the oil sticks better. It doesn't leave the party. The oil hangs out late and parties longer.
So
it's like the rave
Yeah.
It's at the rave. It's the guy that's there when the sun comes up going around the bearing. You know what I mean? Sorry you had to get that
No,
visual.
It wasn't the sound. It was how your face was moving when you were doing that. But
I was
another way
I was raving.
Yeah, no, go.
I was getting there. I was in the place.
Rave to your heart's content. All about happiness here. So, what another way to be putting it is, the oil doesn't have the same flash point as like the fuel does. So as the fuel burns, the oil can kind of stick around and kind of drip down and make its way down towards the crank. Would that be another way of explaining what you just kind of said?
Yeah. That's where you need to get into. Okay, here we go. Evaporation point of gas is low. Some of the gas turns to vapor. This is direct from Chris Reel.
Yep.
Oil does not turn to vapor until it gets much hotter. So, but in the crankcase and stuff, it's not exploding. So it's sticking. The gas and the oil is sticking everything, and it's doing its lubrication.
Yeah.
There's even I'm pretty sure there's even some lubricosity properties to even to gasoline. Correct, Chris? So oil is a thicker mist. Yeah, and that even with the oil injected bikes, it's just dripping the oil in there, and it just goes flying in there and sticks to stuff. But it burns. I mean, the oil burns.
Yeah.
But I think before it burns, it does a little bit of its lubricating job.
Well, in every 2-stroke crank I've seen, it's a little drier than you would actually anticipate, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's floating in oil like a 4-stroke is.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. There's a film. The oil is like a cushion between the thing.
Got it. So I want to go ahead and get through these Instagram questions, and then we'll go to the chat questions.
Okay.
So from Moto Winkle, is there a difference between piggyback tuners? Looking at the JD tuner versus the Attitude Industries, which is the same price for his 2022 CRF 450 RL. What parameters necessitate upgrading the ECU with the likes of a Vortex? So I guess that's kind of like 2 questions in one.
Yeah, 2 questions. So, some oils actually adhere to hot surfaces. This is something I learned. Like castor oils, go to the hot stuff, and synthetic oils tend to not go to it as well. I learned this in the old days.
Yeah.
So back to the tuner question. So there's essentially one company that makes that I can tell. The tuners that are all the same shape and have the same buttons and the same row of lights on them, those are all made by one company, and you can kind of private label your tuner. So I know that some people have gone to this company and they say, hey, I want to have a tuner for whatever brand, blah, blah, blah. And then they give them what they want to do to it, and the company programs it in, and then they send it out. How they arrive at this and stuff, I don't know. I don't know who's doing the development, whether they're doing it on a dyno, whether they have people testing it. You can find stuff on eBay that nobody tested anything. It just the plugs fit, and then it's kind of like some of these exhausts you can buy for some of these bikes. It fits. I don't know what the hell it does. So do your research on the tuners. JD tuners have a good name. They've been around for a long time. Look at how long the company's been in business, what they offer. You can maybe ask them about, hey, what are they trying to do? And if they just start telling you about how much more horsepower it is, just kick them in the nuts. Ask them about rideability, because it's way more important.
Yeah, the butt dyno beats the actual dyno.
And then when do you need to go from a tuner to like a full ECU? Typically on emissions compliant bikes and stuff like that, you're going to be experiencing some limitations, especially in RPM, like the amount of RPM it's going to allow the motor to turn before the rev cut comes in. And then there's some other variables or factors, whether it has a closed loop monitoring system, or, whether there's throttle controls features set into this. There's a lot of stuff. So a lot of times the aftermarket ECUs that are built for competition bikes do not have these limitations in them, and then you're gonna get that. But be very aware that those things are also tuned to a specific setting. And this is what I don't understand, why some of these companies aren't doing. I think Takamoto's doing it a little bit, where it's like, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, where it's like your tune is going to match. If you're doing something to the air filter and to the exhaust, you'd better get a complete ECU. Yeah, you might be able to get away with it with a fuel tuner, but typically, especially when you're going to most of the exhausts that people buy, which is stupid, is they go into these big open exhausts that make really good high horsepower, and they go bow bow. They're not rideable. so when you're,
I think my headphones were a little turned.
Yeah, and when you're just pulling this crap, and you're just pulling all this stuff out, and you just want it to go bap like this, like I probably need to go to a full ECU. But if you're just maybe doing a little bit of exhaust work and a little bit of intake stuff, then once you start when you start really messing with stuff, cams, and try to get race motor performance, you need a full ECU. It's just like Astroglide, Victor says.
Right.
I'm not really sure how that works.
I'm not really sure what Astroglide is, but with Victor saying it, I'm kind of scared to find out. Even though he is my Valentine.
He was.
He was.
Oh.
Yeah, remember?
Maybe he's the Stockholm Syndrome guy.
Maybe. So Lonnie White, 249. What would you recommend as the best way to stop flameout in a 2022 KTM 450 XCF?
What would be the best? Question again?
Yeah, what would be the best way to stop flameout?
Flameout. So I think he's talking about like the kind of the hiccup stall.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming kind of like also.
I would say usually downshift.
Yeah. That's kind of what popped into my mind, because I noticed when you ride in the right gear, you don't really flame out all that often.
Right.
If at all.
So I'm gonna go to so
good clutch control as well.
Yeah, clutch, downshifting, clutch control, throttle control,
Jimmy Lewis riding school,
balance. I have a school that teaches a lot of this stuff,
or an online school that can help with this too.
The beginner one?
I think the beginner one with some clutch control.
Yeah, people just think it's so beginner, but then they realize that's like half the stuff that we teach to the advanced class. Right,
we have
at the
a testimonial that speaks to this.
Good, but so I don't think that the bike inherently flames out. So again, set your idle, check your idle. Try running maybe a higher idle if this is a little bit of a problem. I'm not talking drastically higher. It can be like 3 or 4 clicks on the idle adjust, just enough to just get it so that it's not so luggy and not so prone to that. I've seen that sometimes having a fuel tuner, the ability to do a fuel tuner or an ECU can also help this. But most of the time that guys have a problem with something like a flame out, I go, what did you do to your bike? And I'm like, I put this on and that on. And it generally starts with a big muffler and I put an ECU on it. And it's like, well, did it do it with stock? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, that yeah, they spend a lot of time so that the bike doesn't do this, but you're not riding it like the dyno, and therefore it's a thing. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, we have a bunch of questions from the chat. I think we should probably go to commercial break, though. It's about that time. And then we'll come back with all these chat questions.
Let's do chat roulette really quick. Let's just
right.
bang these things
chat
out.
Roulette. So let's go all the way. There was one we missed from the very beginning here.
Right.
So from Creased, I'm not going to say that full thing. What's up, guys? Would it be pointless to buy an extended warranty if you're going to modify the bike? Thanks.
Yes.
Good.
You don't need to buy an extended warranty on a dirt bike. I think they're all pretty good, unless you're going to do something stupid and then try to fake the insurance company out. But trust me, they've seen it all before. I've seen some guys win on that. They go and they use their insurance to get it fixed up. But I think it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
Dave Black.
Both my Husky 501 and KTM 300XC have dramatically lost their kickstand springs multiple times. Before I install new brackets and springs, is there anything I can do to have it last longer between checking?
So dramatically lost their kickstand springs. So do the kickstands snap off like the bolts? I hope he's not climbing on his motorcycle on a KTM.
I was going to say, he's been here enough times to know not to do that.
Yeah. The KTM kickstand is made to hold up the weight of the bike, and that's it, barely. So I've never seen the kickstand springs go flying off, other than when you let that little tiny, I think it's a 3mm Allen head screw that has the pivot inside there. Unless that thing gets loose, and then they come off. I haven't ever seen them fail any other way, other than with people climbing on them, lifting pulling on the kickstands, doing kind of crazy stuff. So yeah, Loctite, that little guy. Trail Tech makes a really good quality replacement kickstand. You can fix that. Go to trailtech.net for that. Tell them Jimmy Lewis sent you.
Mm-hmm.
Send me an email. I can get you a discount code.
All right. So Mike H, would removing the judder spring improve the CRF 450 RL Vega clutch feel? Advantages and disadvantages.
No, it won't. I've tried that and it didn't change it. Recluse has the way to fix this. And we did an article on a long term in 2019. I think we did 450X or R. We did a long term.
Yeah,
we went through three different types of Recluse clutches, and each one progressively made it better. So, and we tried the different billet clutch cable arm and some other stuff, but it was really inside the clutch and some of the clutch parts in general. Every step you upgraded it got that vague feel, but it's never going to get as good as some of the other clutches.
Okay, so Eric Wyden, my 21 FE501 frequently flamed out when it was stock and brand new. Only happened with quicker blips off of idle.
Increase your idle.
There we go.
This is the flame out show.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to flame out to commercial break right now.
If I can get it. There we go.
The defending champion, the all-new Yamaha YZ450F.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto Co. branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it, to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
And we're back. Mid-pour.
Mid-pour. Sorry.
Well, it's the
good stuff.
Well, it's what our viewers come to expect from us. So.
Yeah. Yeah, Clase Azul tonight. tequila for Tech Talk Taco Tuesday and tequila. So cheers. Thanks, Emily. I like to say that's the big bottle. It's getting a little low tide in there. You know what I mean? So anyhow, thanks everybody for joining in. This show would not be possible without our sponsors. Matt, do you know our sponsors?
Yeah. Yamaha, Takamoto, Scott Sports. Climb.
You wear climb goggles though.
I wear climb goggles. I do. I have some feedback for them on a certain pair I've been wearing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
DDC, Trail Tech, Fasst Company, which remind me to ask you a question after the show.
Hey, there was someone that wanted to call in, and I told him if he called in, he went on our Seat Concepts Hot Seat Hotline, I would give him a Fasst Company discount code. So that guy, if you're watching, call in. Just call in and say you have your question. What is the Fasst Company discount code?
Yep.
And we'll get your email and I'll send it to you.
All right. Seat Concepts, Bulletproof Designs, and Double Take Mirrors.
This next segment, quick segment, is brought to you by Bulletproof Designs, because I decided to do that.
Yeah.
It's the Bulletproof Designs product of the week.
Okay.
But it's not a Bulletproof Designs product. It's because they just sponsor the segment. Whatever the product is, they said we could do whatever we wanted to, or I said we could do whatever we wanted to. That's how I deal with my sponsors.
Yeah, they're very they're all on board.
But Bulletproof Designs makes really good protection products for your dirt bike, radiator guards, chain guide, chain guide enhancements.
This stuff is too good for you to accidentally swallow it down the wrong.
No, I didn't go down the wrong. I had a rough trip in Mexico.
Oh boy.
I blame Rally Navigator for this.
Okay.
Okay. So SP Connect, and I am not a tech geek guy. Maybe, I don't know, a little bit. So I was at the motorcycle show. My good buddy Ray Conway, which caused me a lot of problems in this show. Like just talking to Ray caused me a lot of problems. But one good thing that happened with Ray was he said, "Hey Jimmy, I want you to meet my friend who is working for SP Connect, and they make phone docking systems for your bike, dirt bike, different things." And I just, click this.
Your laptop's kind of covering it.
Yeah, I'm trying to hold it up here higher. So this kind of goes in here like this, and it turns, and it goes in, it locks. It's one of these locking things, and I'm gonna take it apart because I have it on a RAM mount right here because I have RAM mounts on everything. So RAM mounts off. They make a RAM ball that hooks up to their thing, and then they have a vibration dampening guy, and then this is a charger. There's cables on here. There's a charger into a USB.
Okay.
And we have to run like all kinds of tracking stuff and different apps for our rally navigation software and things. And I run iPhones, which generally just self-destruct when they're mounted up there. So I've been using these other cradles, but then the iPhones like to fly off when you just that sudden sharp hit. And then the plug that, when you're plugging here, not the magnetic, not the charging in the back.
Yeah.
This stuff is really sano. And I was a little skeptical. I'm like, there's no way that's going to stay docked in there. I never had a problem. My phone was fine. I've dropped my phone like 5 or 6 times in their case because I'm really particular about the case I run. So it's a case system. It has a case. And then this has the charging thing, which is actually, connected. It's bolted down, and it's on a vibration dampener. So this thing's all super solid. So check out their stuff, SP Connect. I will. I'm probably going to write something up about it because I said I'd try it, and I was like, whatever. But so they have RAM ball mounts. They have all these different little adjustable ones. People use them on mountain bikes, and they have a vent clip so I can click it in my truck and everything now. So it's funny because I'll probably spend, like $300, $400 by the time I'm done. But all I have to do is then just buy the cases for the if I switch my phone or whatever, and then it just connects to everything, and it's always charging, always mounted and they're secure. And when you go to the RAM ball for me, then I can just quickly move this thing from one thing to another. So I can take off my double take mirror, and quit looking at myself,
and then
while I'm riding all the time, and I can put my phone on there, and I can just take selfies of myself.
the whole
time I'm riding.
Hey, maybe I got you in my pocket. It is now Yeah, I got you on
Dude,
my
I did
SB.
one today.
Yeah, I didn't watch the full thing.
No,
I
you
just
didn't.
saw
No,
hit-
no, that was not. I got you in my pocket. That was you were watching that.
Oh,
This
there was a visual experience, so it wasn't I got you in my pocket.
This is where we have. Yeah, Jason, you need one of these phone mounts. I'm not kidding you. They're trick. And Jason has a question.
Yeah, 2023 KTM 300 XCW. What would be the first 3 mods you would do to this bike for single track / hard enduro riding? Winky face.
See, Jason's in the industry. He understands this. He knows that's a way to call out my sponsor plugs to do stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself right now. Well, so first of all, I would click through Dirt Bike Test and go to Rocky Mountain MCATV.
Okay.
That's where I'd go there, and then I'd say, there's got to be 3 things here that I really need to do to my bike. And I'm thinking what I did to mine. What are my top 3 things?
Recluse?
No, I don't have a recluse in my 300.
Oh, not even for the King of the Motos?
That was George's bike.
Oh,
That wasn't his bike. And that was a tough call. I couldn't decide whether I wanted it or didn't want it. Number 1. Boy, that's a good question. Fasst Company flex handlebars.
Okay.
Flex bars, because that is going to fix like a lot of my personal issues, just like my wrists and stuff. Then I don't have to worry about the forks at all, like the suspension, or if it bottoms a little bit too easy, whatever. That would be number 1. There's so many things you can do to that bike for free, like add a little bit of oil to the forks, make a huge difference. So, but flex handlebars. What else have I done to that thing? I think they come with a skid plate now. I think they have a skid plate.
Wraparound handguards?
No, I was riding mine for a long time without it. Depends on where you're riding. Like, I have a big tank. I have a Cherbys tank on mine. So that was something else that I did. And
I think I'm reading more into the when I'm thinking of the mods, I'm thinking more of the hard enduro riding versus the single track riding.
Yeah,
I'm
more like I do those things, but I don't know whether I'm for the hard and for single track. Yeah, recluse clutch. For hard enduro, I don't know, because I want to be able to stall the bike and have it stop. And that's the one thing about the recluse, that if you stall the bike, it goes, it rolls.
Right.
I bulletproof designs protection. The radiator, especially with hard enduro, the radiator guards, it's cheap insurance. Like, if you want to buy 3 sets of radiators instead of 1 set of radiator guards and spend 3 times the money, those would do it. And I'm gonna go Scott steering stabilizer. And it's not that the bike needs it, but the bike I was riding down in Baja did not have one. And it was a 500, but same thing. And it's not that it needs it; it just helps.
Right.
It's just such a good product.
So I'm not really used to having a steering stabilizer. And when you let me ride one of your 500s just last week, it blew my mind away. Actually, I could actually feel it.
Yeah,
it was a difference maker.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. We need to get one in your Yamaha.
Yes.
Yeah, that would help. The flex bars on my T7, I'm pretty sure were 12-degree standard bend, standard enduro. They're 7-degree enduro bend, Victor. So that's kind of, I run 12-degree on almost everything right now, and then they're kind of height adjustable a little bit, but they're the standard height, not low or not high. And yeah, Beam, most enduro hard guys run the stock clutch, and most of those guys, they're so good in their clutch they don't need to have a recluse. But I'm lazy, and I just, if it's gonna be as good as me, if not better, which is what the recluse are, I like it. I have them most of my bikes, and I can go back and forth pretty ambidextrously, just back and forth.
Yeah.
So okay, but yeah, Jason. So I'm guessing you got a KTM 300. Good for you. Hey, I got a project I need to talk to you about this summer. So
is it
that thing it's
Is it
going.
is it a certain project that seems really, really cool?
Yeah, super
Okay.
cool.
Right.
I got some of all the key guys
Yeah.
like
they're on board.
they want to do it. Yeah. Now it's finding money and finding filmers,
Okay.
and it'll be super, super cool.
Do I qualify as one of the key guys?
Well, you can go as a filmer. That's the part, Matt.
Yeah.
Filmer. That's key, I guess.
The key guy.
Sounds like I have to pay you. Hey, Seat Concept since 2009. Handmade seat products made in the USA. I should have said a Seat Concept seat also for my KTM 300.
Mm-hmm.
But I think mine's still stock. Just one of the many. But proprietary foam formula. It's adjusted for each customer based on riding style, weight, and firmness preference. Designed and built for long-haul adventure rides or weekends at the track. Ride the world with Seat Concepts. Ride the track with Seat Concepts. Ride the trail, single track trail, or hard enduro with Seat Concepts. So, okay.
Dave Scott is coming in hot with a question.
Okay.
Question: What are your thoughts between a 23 KTM 300 XC and a 23 Beta 300 Race Edition? Ride a lot of tight enduro and hair scramble trails.
Well, I got to ride a 23 Beta 300 last weekend at our school. The one of the Tylers.
I thought that was a 390.
No, it's a 300
Oh,
two-stroke.
Joey. I didn't ride Joey's back
Yeah.
actually. I rode the 390.
Oh, I didn't ride that one. I've not. Did I ride the XC? I don't know if I rode the XC.
Was it the SX that you rode?
I rode SXs for sure. I may have rode an XC. I rode a whole bunch of bikes that day because they were just kind of bouncing around, just getting quick opinions on some of the stuff, but mostly SXs. And I'm gonna have to kind of default to if you're a bigger or taller guy, Dave. I think the Beta layout might suit you a little bit better, but the KTM has grown a little bit, and then now they're a little bit flatter. But the Beta, they're both such good bikes. And I don't know that, it's kind of like you're either going to like one or the other as far as like suspension and they're definitely enough different that it would just really, if you could had the opportunity to go for a test ride, and I don't have enough time on either one of them. I just goofed around on a dry lake bed, and then I think I bounced through a couple bumps with it.
Yeah.
And so I don't. It's not like I did a full test. And if I did, I could tell you the exact this or that's of them. And I'd love to do that test. We've been trying to get it, but man, bikes. Well, it's finally starting to slow down a little bit, but bike sales are up, and the manufacturers don't really need to go get any additional press because, like, they're selling out of this stuff, and they're not sitting on them anymore. So
Right.
and people will just go buy them because of the reputation of whatever it is. And both those bikes have really good reputations. I don't think 5'9", 180 pounds. Oh, you'll fit on a KTM just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna like. I noticed some taller guys tend to struggle a little bit with the KTM's, you can't go wrong with either of those. I think you would get used to either one, but they're just like different. They're definitely different flavors. And the strong things about the Beta, in my experience, and this is very consistent with the Betas, is that they scale weight heavy, but they ride light, and they're incredibly stable for such a nimble bike. And the KTM's have kind of gone from being kind of like twitchy and kind of unstable to getting a little bit longer and more stable. It's kind of the stuff that the racers are complaining about. I think is better for the average guy. They're focusing on some stuff that works really well for the average guy. So they're kind of getting a little bit closer where they were a little bit farther apart. They're kind of, because imagine they're just getting to the sharper point of the stick. They're going to figure everything out.
Right.
So it's okay. I have KTM's. It's currently blown up, and I'm not happy with the brand, and I'm looking for alternatives.
Boy.
Yeah, I tell you what, the Betas are durable. This is. I mean, we pulled apart some like Big John's bike.
Yeah,
and over time, they're a little bit. The reason I say they scale heavy, they're a little bit overbuilt. I mean, the pieces inside the engine, like KTM is looking for every ounce inside there, and Beta tends to Think, what's wrong with your YZ250? You just go to Yamaha. YamahaMotorsports.com. They have a nice YZ250. It's really simple. It has a Kickstarter, so you can kickstart it. You don't have to worry about any of these batteries and it's a crazy fuel injection, electronic power valve. You don't want any of that.
Yeah.
You want a nice analog YZ250X Kickstarter. The power valve is completely controlled by balls and gears, and balls and gears are good.
Yeah. Jimmy likes the balls.
YamahaMotorsports.com today. I want a YZ125X, the new one.
Oh, that'd be nice. I remember I got to test ride I did the test.
The
for
intro,
for the first one. No, the first YZ125X.
Right. Oh,
I did the bike
with
test.
that new chassis and stuff, then just the new plastics and stuff, the new one will be even better.
Yeah, which is Yamaha ever gonna put electric start on those, or are they just gonna try and keep them low cost and just keep the kickstart going?
I don't know.
Because do they even have a space in the frame for a battery?
No, it's not. That's a whole new bike. If
Yeah.
they do that, they're going to a whole new bike. And I keep poking around and asking, hey, you guys testing this, that, and I don't get any real solid info. They never they can't tell you anything, but
Right.
I don't even get a feel for one direction. They've got to be thinking about it,
Right.
Because those bikes sell well and they're great bikes.
Yeah.
But half of the reason they sell well is because they're less expensive and they're simple, and some people want this.
But how much? So how much costs would it actually add to just design a little bit?
Well,
more
carburetors
space for a
are
bike?
expensive right now, so it's almost an even swap to go to fuel injection.
Well, I'm not even talking fuel injection. I just want fuel injection.
You want electric
I want
start?
electric start on my YZ125X.
It's like a $300 of stuff that you're going to have to add to the bike essentially, but it's a whole redesign of the engine, because the cases, you have to mount the starter and the case and all that stuff like that. It's not as easy. They have all the parts. So yes, I love Yamaha suspension. Would love a 300 counterbalance engine with a starter. You know what, Dave?
So would we.
I don't think there's any denying, and it's just like Yamaha needs to make a YZ350 FX.
Oh,
If they made that bike, it would kill it.
I feel like there's growing demand for it too.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, and it wouldn't be that hard to build. But the thing is, they're building that 250 engine to just be just enough to handle 250. And if they go to 350, like we were talking about this, I was riding something today. Okay,
hold on. I'm looking at the time. We need to start going into your story here. Yeah,
my story.
Yeah,
I'll tell you my story. So I was talking with my good friend Ray Conway at the AIM Expo, and we were looking at a bike, and we said, if that thing just had a Husaberg 650 motor in it, and he goes, oh yeah, and because he was Honda's PR guy, and he would have to come out on tests. We were doing different things, and he got a chance to ride this Husaberg 650 that was a long haul bike at Dirt Rider magazine. So it was a bike that we took, and we ran that. I know 2 different times we ran it in 24-hour events. We almost won the 6 hour. Myself and a kid named Ryan Orr almost won the 6 hours of Glen Helen on that bike, except we got a flat tire. And I mean, this was a really good bike, and I've never, and I still talk to this day, it's the only bike on certain sand uphill climbs that we bang upshifts on, and it keeps pulling. Like, you're on the fastest other bike, and you come into the hill in third, and you downshift to second. And this thing, you come in there in third, and you upshift to fourth, and the only reason you have to go back down to third is because you can't make the turns on the hill.
right.
It just makes freaking power. So anyways, Ray and I were talking about this. Oh yeah, we just went down like memory lane, and I still remember how much power that bike had, just the torque and acceleration. I think the 550 was technically a better motor because it revved farther. I don't think it made as much power. It definitely didn't have as much torque. This is old Husaberg, by the way. They were assembled by KTM, but it was the old Husaberg design. And so, lo and behold, the next day, thumbing through social media there, I look on the Facebooks, and I'm on some Husaberg group. Imagine that. And some guy has a picture of 2 2 Husaberg 650s for sale in California. And I text him back like right away. and because I don't know if he said the price or whatever, but I got the price, and I said I want to buy these. I said because they look like they're mechanical. I said, give me a call, we'll talk about it. And I don't know if he called me, I don't know if he put the price up there, whatever it was, but I talked to him. The guy's legit. He and the way I knew he was legit is he said, and he's a bike restorer guy. He said these are my personal bikes. I ride them a lot, and he described the bikes, and I knew what he was talking about. It was like we're all talking the same language. There's only a few people that have ridden bikes like this. And I said, okay, I want to buy them. I got to go to Mexico for a week. Can you pull it down? Like, do I need to send you a deposit or something like that? If they're what you say they are, I'm buying them. And so, and then I called Ray. I said, hey Ray, you got $4,000? You know, you want a Husaberg? Ray consulted with his wife, or maybe didn't tell her, and next thing you know, we're going down Husaberg Lane. I was just going to buy them myself, but I knew Ray. We talked about it. Like it was divine intervention. So I'm the proud owner of two, a 2002 and a 2008 Husaberg 650, FE 650s. So one's a made in Sweden one, and one's the made in Austria one. And so I went there to look at them, and they're in pretty good shape for, being nearly 20-year-old bikes. And, one of them had to get pull started behind a truck, and the other one pretty much fired right up. But there was little things that, I'm like, God, they're old and they're hard to get parts for and all this stuff like that. But anyways, I rode them down the street, and the very first time I cracked the throttle in third gear, just rolled the throttle on in third gear. I knew there was $8,000 was leaving my wallet.
Right there on the spot.
Oh, it was done. It was a done deal. So it's like, so I got him back here today. It was kind of my day off, and started wheedling with them, and changed the oil, checked everything out, pretty much as advertised, the normal things. And then I went and rode it today. And, midlife crisis, full deep in the addiction. I don't know where I'm at with this whole thing, but every time I cracked that throttle and rolled it on with it, was just a smooth roll, and I just nailed it, and it just barked, and that thing pulled. And we don't have hills around here, so you can't really feel it. But like in fourth gear, you roll the thing on, the front wheel comes off the ground. It just pulls. And the thing for a 650, it revs like it vibrates, and it sounds like there's a bunch of loose ball bearings inside the motor. And the handling's comparable with the KTM RFS. It's a little bit better, actually. They're a little more stable. I hate to use the F word, but man, what a good bike.
Yeah.
Just the money well spent, Jimmy. Good job. And if the thing blew up tomorrow, I got to re-feel that experience. It's like, and I talk about the 570 all the time, and I know the 570 makes a lot of power and it's fuel injected, it's good, but these things are. So I texted my buddy Dave, Dave Donatoni. Dave, I showed him a picture. I said, look closely at this picture. I had the one that I was kind of working on. I had the valve cover off because I was resealing some stuff, and the other one was in the background. And he's like, we got to go rip some sand washes now. and I'm like, yeah, come on out. And yeah, they're the 650 is, it's just something to be experienced. It's like a fine wine. It's like you're just going to overpay. And I'm the last guy that would ever do it with tequila, but I don't buy the expensive tequila. It's always gifted to me.
Right.
I mean, I find the cheap one that tastes like the expensive one, or it gives me the same experience. I probably will, enjoy the finer things at some point, but I still feel like I'm saving for the Doomsday or whatever. But I may have just bought Doomsday.
You just bought your expensive tequila.
Oh man, that thing.
Are these gonna be?
So I'm gonna put up on the I'll put it up. It'll probably go on Facebook as well, but it'll be on Instagram. I'll do it on Dirt Bike Test. I'm gonna do, and I've got you in my pocket.
Yep.
And I take off on that thing, and you're gonna listen to it. The beginning's good because I run it through the gears. I was on a road, and then I hopped in a sand wash, and I kind of started bouncing around, and then I'm like a kid. Like when I was done with that, I'm just like, because I had to like, I wanted to just rev it, but I wanted you to hear just the torque, and like I was never in anything lower than 30. Each year I take off. I think I clicked into the second when I take off. Then you can start counting the gear shifts.
Yeah.
I'm in fourth gear and it rolls on. It's like you're in second gear the way it pulls. It just tugs. So yeah, just call me whatever. It doesn't matter. And it's like, yeah, the twin cylinder bikes. I have twin cylinder bikes that I bet you it makes the same kind of power, if not more, than the Tenere 700. But it weighs half. And when that thing pulls, and today there was good traction, dirt's wet.
Yeah.
And when it pulled, you're just like, oh, this it shouldn't accelerate this quick. And even the video I posted today, watch how quick it goes from 50 to 70.
Very fast.
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds, and it was like lifting the front wheel, and I'm trying to hold the camera still.
Yeah.
Because I'm with one hand on the dry lake bed. Yeah.
Dave Donnelly saying that we know what the next Berg ride is because he actually he bought some Bergs.
Yeah.
He bought not just my Husaberg.
Oh,
he bought other Bergs.
He bought another one.
Yeah. No. One,
but a 4-stroke.
4-stroke plural. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From around the 2000.
And he's in Perump, right?
Yeah.
So he's adding to this Perump per
I think
capita.
he sent me a picture. I'll show it to you. He bought some at I think
as FX 450 or something like that. Yeah. Well, Dave, we might want to talk about some parts. Because we're all going to need them pretty soon.
Let me see here.
Yeah. So me and Ray are deciding who's getting the 2002. I'll get the 2002 all together tomorrow and go ride that and see how it is. But it's the old Swedish motor. It's a little bit different. It has the old Del Ordo on it, which it still makes power. Oh, and so get back to what we were talking about is like Yamaha make a 350. No, they can't. Husaberg just said, hey, we can make this into a 650. Who cares if this motor was never designed to make this much power? And they just did it. And it makes a lot of power. And the one at Dirt Rider, I need to go back because I don't remember exactly. But I split that thing down and split the cases and tore it all apart. And we had some little issues with some water pump seals and things like that. And I know there was some issues with the other people, and I'd have to check into it, but we never had any problem with our bike. So there's some hill climbs with my name written on them right now. And like Dave wanted to come out here, and I'm like, no, we can't ride it out here. Let's take it to our spots where we have some big ass hill climbs that like, I know guys have said they've ridden up it, and I'm just calling bullshit.
Yeah.
They talk about, oh yeah, I rode up that. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Because I know what it took to get up this, and I know it took every ounce of power some of these bikes had to get up there. And aside from a hill climbing bike, you're not going up it. So
right,
because you're going to make the shift. You're not going to unless you're running nitrous or something like that.
Right.
So okay, yeah, there's my day. Thank you.
Cool.
I'm going to go to sleep now.
I think you should do a video or a story on those bikes before one of them makes
bad noises.
Yeah,
it's coming.
I think because like people want to see genuine people, and seeing like your genuine excitement about these bikes and your nostalgia for them. I think you should do a story, like what it meant to you, why you like it, the story of the bike itself, and kind of like I think it'd be fun.
I think it's like when somebody buys all these parts, they put all this. They take their stock KTM from 40 horsepower and put it up to 60 horsepower or something like this.
Yeah,
and they get that giddiness. That's what I'm having with this. And this is a production motorcycle you could buy, and it came like this.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do anything to it. And it's not a motocross bike. Motocross bikes make a lot of power, but not torque like this. Not even close. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Rest my case. Okay, next question, Matt.
Okay. So Victor's asking, do you miss the
Gawaz bike? If I was going to race a rally in Africa, hell yeah. If that bike had one more year of development in it, the second BMW 900RR that I rode, if we had one more year to develop that bike, it would have been so good.
Did the single cylinder rule kick in and
kill that BMW
bike,
there was some issues with just safety and things, and they had a management change, and they were spending a lot of money on rally, and they were getting ready to go race Formula One. So other things happened. And
Got it.
I think I think there was a bunch of women out there that, and by women I mean other riders that were not man enough to ride. Not that a girl couldn't ride a twin cylinder bike, but just being real derogatory here, that were afraid of riding the twin cylinder bikes because you had to respect them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to respect that kind of power and that kind of weight. And you could, when you got to pull the trigger, it was bye-bye, little single cylinder guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we need to go into Rooster Endo.
Rooster Endo. This is brought to you by tacomoto.co. So if you are needing to get the kind of experience I was just describing with your current model KTM or Husky or Gas, go to the people at tacomoto.com. Tacomoto.co. It's not com.
If you put the M there, nothing's going to come up.
Yeah, go to tacomoto.co, and they will have all the stuff. They are going to give somebody tonight a $100 gift certificate for sending us a picture of their bike, telling us your make and model, and trying to entertain Jimmy at the same time.
All right, first one up here is going to be from Aaron Long. It's a 2022 KTM 500 EXC. It has a whole lot of goodies coming from bulletproof design radiator guards, chain guide, and rear rotor guard. Taco tuned Git ECU, a molecule skid plate, Takamoto titty tail, spelled out titty.
Right.
And wraparound turn signals.
What happened to Cooper? He was here. He hardly talked to me.
I don't know.
His tail between his legs?
I don't know. He didn't really talk to me a whole lot either.
Yeah.
He seemed okay.
He was on the Instas earlier today.
Oh, I didn't see him on the Instas.
He popped into Insta.
Oh.
That thing, that gram.
Well, maybe he's still trying to figure out the difference between a tidy tail and a titty tail.
Right.
Let's see. He feels
I
like
hope
he's
doing better
something.
at reading. I really do.
Yeah. So anyway,
Mark
that's actually
Endo. What?
What do you mean Endo? So actually,
he's endoing our show.
Oh, got it. Well, hold on. Actually, there's a crucial element of this photo. So his feet are in this picture, but
it's the first person that's put his feet in the photo. But
yeah.
I just
feet
wonder.
Pics don't get you bonus points here.
So he's at his endurocross practice track. It looks like.
Yep.
And it looks like, I don't know how he ended up there, like laying down there on the logs to get a photo of his bike like this. Nice ferns in the background.
Mm-hmm.
The dirt looks premium.
It looks like
his tires are worn out.
Yeah.
Tires look worn out. Maybe he's been doing too much spins.
Right. Or maybe, yeah, probably that.
Right. That's a.
Because I was gonna say there's not chunks missing out of them as like if he was. Because my theory was
those actually look like pretty good tractor tires. For
the
tractor tires have nice tread on them, and
they have nicer tread than the actual
bike. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying Endo for that.
I'm saying Endo as well because I'm not liking the tires on that front wheel if he's doing endurocross.
It looks like a hard terrain tire, but
it looks like a pretty DOT first tire. Is that 606?
No, I don't know what it looks like.
Huh.
I'm not sure.
But
who uses brand new tires for their endurocross track?
This guy. Yeah, it's an Endo for me. Also because I don't like how the bike is parked in between the tires versus just park it on top of the tire.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't you nose wheelie it up onto it or something like that?
Yeah, or do a 180 off of it. So Endo for me.
Pivot, yeah, Endo.
Okay, so next one up is going to be from. Well, I should have had my list more in order. This next one's going to be from Steve Smith.
Okay.
Let's see here. There we go. And this is one of those profile picture.
Oh, yeah.
2015.
So grainy that it looks like he's riding in snow.
And there's a critical mistake with this submission. 2015 500 EXC opening Mosquito Pass in Colorado in July of 2022. Does not list his mods, but I can clearly see the Acerbis tank.
Right.
And then that's not a FMF or a Kropovich. What's the other one that you see with a lot of 500s?
They put the PMB end cap on it?
No, because the
oh, it's a different.
Yeah,
I can't even. I can't even tell.
I can't remember.
Lex.
Well,
that's the Rocky Mountain house brand.
No, I don't think it's Lex. I think it's
Yosh.
Well,
Graves.
This submission's getting an L.
Graves. Yeah. So that's an Endo.
I mean, I like the picture's cool. Graves. Okay, maybe.
No, the picture's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, like the subject matter.
The fact
is
that
cool.
the fact that he's opening.
I mean, he's stuck.
the pass. No,
He is
he's
stuck.
He's not stuck yet.
I don't know. I'm not seeing Roost flying off. Well, it could be flying off, but the graininess of the photo.
I think he's getting off his bike and ready to push it, which I would do too. But it depends on what time of day. If you're really crafty with this, you ride on this when it's either frozen, usually earlier before you start punching through. Because if it gets warm during the day and then it freezes at night, you can get over this stuff when it's a little bit. There's a time when it's icy and you're going to slide right off it, and then it just cracks enough to where you can get traction and go. But at least he's not shooting a big old rooster tail.
Yeah.
With the endo.
So endo for me too. All right, so the next one up is going to be from a Marty Small.
Marty Small.
Yeah. So what Marty is bringing to this episode of Rooster Endo is a 2015 501 set up for desert exploring, but now a gravel road dual sport bike in Ohio. Has 14,000 miles, 499 hours with 2 valve adjustments and no mod list.
No mod list.
No mod list.
Well, he's got a big Achirby's tank.
Yep. He's got the
He's got the put your hands in the bag
yeah.
snowmobile hand warmers.
Yeah.
That shows dedication to go riding. He's got some Moscow Moto bags.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have steg pegs in there, or is that the Moscow mount?
I think it's they're steg pegs.
They're steg pegs.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know how to balance on his motorcycle.
Nope.
And
Which
so he likes
did
he
we
likes
talk
to
to the
fall.
Did we talk to the
kid about the steg pegs?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I broke into that discussion with him.
Got it.
I think it was still a little rough.
He had only been riding for 6 months.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Tank bag, not a fan, but he's carrying some stuff. He seems like he's out adventuring. Double take mirror. Yes, it's a win.
Seat concept seat too, actually.
Seat concept seat, that's another win.
Yeah, right. Like looking at that the pattern.
Right. It looks like he needs some bulletproof design disc guard.
Yeah. Not the front one though.
What kind of radiator guards you think that's at? They look like they could be bulletproof
They
designs.
could be, but I'm not 100% sure I'm enhanced. Oh, those do look like bulletproof designs.
There's a lot of knockoffs out there, and trust me, if you're buying the knockoffs, when you knock your bike off on a rock, you'll knock off your radiator.
Yeah.
So bulletproof designs are really stout.
His clutch cover looks really clean for how many hours and miles it has. Like, it doesn't look all that scuffed up.
But he also looks like he has rally style pegs on it.
He does.
Yeah, Mark's on. I'm calling it a Roost. What
Josh is calling it a Roost. It's
I'm not okay.
It's an endo on a technicality.
Well, it's what? It's okay. The photo is a full endo. Like it's just a shitty photo, by the way. But compared to the last two, I'm kind of stoked on it.
Okay, but there's a fatal flaw.
Okay.
He didn't follow the rules.
Oh, what did he do?
We don't have a mod list.
Oh, that's right. We just did the mod list.
We just did.
Oh,
the mod
okay.
list.
Yeah, Endo.
Yeah.
Endo. You got to put some effort into this, people.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's not just free $100. It's not a free $100 contest.
All right, so Dylan Howell is going to be our next submission here.
Dylan walked out into his garage one day and took a picture of his motorcycle.
Yep.
And here we are.
We need to give some photography lessons for our viewers here.
No.
All right.
Oh, it's so funny because I still see the palms burned into the thing. And I'm like, why does it say palms on his wall?
Thanks, Alriez, for sponsoring.
Yeah, Alriez sponsoring the TV set.
May or may not be from
straight out of the palms.
Yeah. All right, so Dylan Howell. Oh, he didn't follow the rules either. So DynoJet PC5 with map switch, Pro Moto billet end cap with ultra silent tip, shark fin disc guard, and Fastway Evo 4 foot pegs. Complete smog bundle, molecule skid plate, TMC fork wraps with a TMC tidy tail.
Right.
Signal indicator harness, PC racing filter skins and air filter base gasket, metal intake fuel filter, vented airbox cover, Enduro engineering lever grips, dirt trick black dome washer, scrambler double take mirror, bar mounted small double take mirror.
Those are trick. Those little, if you want to skate the law, the little double take mirrors, the bar mounted ones, those are nice.
Yeah.
His mirror kind of looks like a fan though. You notice that? It kind of
it does disappear.
The scramble. I didn't know the scrambler. It has the scrambler mirror with the fan added to it.
Right. Hey, remember how
seat concept seat, bro?
Remember how you were telling me when I was first learning how to do some of the photography and videography stuff? You were telling me, hey, don't have trees sprouting out of your head in the photo.
Stockholm syndrome, Matt.
Yeah, but you also don't want the fan sprouting out of your mirror.
No.
Photo. So Black Ultra Slim oil filter cap, P3 Max coverage heat shield, Moto minded dash, reflex racing handguards.
He even shot it backlit in his garage.
Yeah. XC Gear Mako 360 bar mounts, orange fork shrinks full kit, Tokyo off-road starting capacitor, but we don't know the year, maker, model.
Ooh, another fail. Yeah, Endo.
Which is a shame because this bike looks pretty good.
No, it looks like it has a fan for a headlight, it has a pole coming out of the front fender, and it's backlit. And his garage has palms written on the wall. Okay, next.
Okay. So
Are we gonna get a 5 Endos in a row?
Well, I don't know. We'll see here. Christian.
Oh no, my
Collusion.
garage! I tripped. I tripped out in my garage, and I magically snapped a photo of my bike.
George likes this though. Is that Big Red?
3-wheeling's a good feeling.
Yeah, that's Big Red back there.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's got a PW50. That bike would have won tonight, no matter what.
Yep.
This segment is also called Roost Endo for Sale, and he remembers when my buddy, oh man, I can never remember names. The guy with the KX, he sent the KLX 450.
Yeah.
But he's a KX 250 guy. Williams. Oh man, so bad with names. He's trying to sell that to him because he knows he has a collection of like 20 of these.
Is it fate? That's just faded graphics, right? It's not
No,
supposed to be.
that thing was left out in the sun. A couple rats started to eat through the graphics kit,
and they were eating up the.
Yeah, he's got a gold back rim and a normal colored front. Let's go. What's the list?
1996 KX 250, very toasty and in need of a rebuild. That's the list.
Like I said, he was toasted.
Mm-hmm.
He stepped out in his garage, tripped, hit the push button on the phone, took a picture of that, and said, "I'm going to send it into Rooster." And look at the levers. Like, talk about a droopy set of levers. Oh man, I've seen fun bags on a better than that. You know what, Matt?
Oh no, you know what? We did have a last minute entry. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in because I don't want nothing but endos tonight.
I don't know, because this looks like a picture in the back of the truck to me.
Well,
Josh says 10,000 no low balls. He's knows he's got. hey, Josh. You could probably get more for that PW50 in the background. I'm telling you this straight up right now.
Wow.
Especially during COVID. Should have sold.
Jeez.
Okay, what do we got, man?
All right. This isn't the back of a truck.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I pulled it out of my storage unit. I think I'm going to sell it tomorrow.
Oh, that is an ugly muffler.
It's I don't even think it's an FMF. I think it's a big gun that they stuck an FMF sticker on, didn't
That's
they?
what it kind of looks like. All right, this is a 2003 YZ450F.
If it was a YZ400, I would buy it from you right now because I want to do a comparison between a YZ400 and the current YZ450.
Right.
So if anybody out there has a YZ400, the first year especially, I want that bike. And either I'll buy it from you and or if it's not very modified, if it's really close to stock, I will get it really freshened up for you. And because I want to put it back to stock and just talk about the time that just how much stuff has improved. This bike already endos.
Yep. All right. 2003 YZ450F.
You went for a 6-pack of endos tonight, man.
Yep. Heavy flywheel, zip tie suspension, front and rear, jetted by Ty Davis. Front and night. There's no commas in this list either.
If Ty Davis jetted this thing, it probably runs pretty good.
Yeah. So jetted by Ty Davis. Front nitro moose, triple clamp oversize, triple. Okay, the endo. You don't put you got to put commas or you got to put some bullet points or something.
I'm going to tell you guys.
This is just one long sentence.
He talked into his phone. That's the way kids do it these days. They're talking on their phone. So here's what's going to happen. There's no winner tonight. Nobody wins. Mm-hmm. We're rolling this over, and next next weekend. This is my weekend, by the way.
Yep.
Next week's winner, it's double. It's $200.
Do we have that poll?
Yeah. We're not giving it away this weekend, so we're just going to roll it over. We're going to give them 2.
Okay.
You're winning twice next weekend. Next week, if you give us a good, solid Rooster Endo. Or it's yeah. See, Mark said the same thing. Yeah, he's right there with me.
Yeah.
Mark, you want to come and host this show?
You want to come produce it?
Yeah.
I can show you the 2 buttons.
The 2 buttons you put.
And a small little square you look at to make sure it's all going well.
Yeah, Josh, not a WR400. I want a YZ. I don't know. Maybe next year we can do a WR. So, yeah, it's getting a little passive. There's people with some pretty cool stuff. You just take 10 minutes. Put the list, and then you don't have to give us everything. Just tell us the main things. We'll pick it apart. Take a nice picture next time you're out riding, even if it's in the snow. And I know everybody's like locked in the snow and it's cold and you can't even leave your house anymore. It's like, it's not COVID, it's snow. It locked me in. I'm stuck. Can't drive. So you just need to go to Nicaragua like my buddy Marco did. Left from Mammoth, just straight to Nicaragua. Said, I'm out of here.
Nice.
So if you want to go on a tour down in Nicaragua, hit me up. It's on like a Honda 150 thing, and it's kind of has street tires, but it's off-road, I promise. So, Matt, do we have any other questions?
We have a bunch of other questions.
We
want
do.
to roll these over to next week, or do we want
to try to roulette them? Hey, let's
I think we should.
Let's hold them off till next week.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about free riding videos on the internet?
Free riding videos. Yeah, there's a lot of free ride videos on the internet.
Yeah.
No, I want to answer one question. Says I got a question, and it set me off a little bit. So I got a question through my list of people I keep on a list for rally training. And so I do rally training from time to time. And one guy emailed back. He's like, "Hey, Jimmy, I'm really planning on taking your class one of these days." That's the way it always starts, right?
Yep.
Just fishing for free information,
Yep.
Whatever. But I'm having a problem, and he's going to Sonora Rally. So, so I just narrowed it down to 40 people in the world. I'm not going to rat the guy out. And so I'm going to Sonora Rally, and I'm really struggling because I'm running, brand this tire, and it's not my brand, but it's another brand. I don't even want. It doesn't matter. I'm having trouble summoning the sand dunes while I'm navigating, and I'm thinking it's my tire, So I run this, and what do you think what tire would you suggest for helping me summit the sand dunes?
Oh, okay. I see this. I see the notes.
You see my stress?
Yeah.
And it's like so I just emailed back, and so if you want to know who this guy is, it's the guy who thinks I'm an asshole at the Sonora Rally. Except there's probably like 6 of those, but just he's one of them. So it was like, it's not the tire, dude. I said, hey, I hate to be blunt, but it's not the tire. I rode the last time I was at Glamis with the boys, right? Riding rally through the thing. I was running a Kenda Equilibrium. Okay. That's the one that looks kind of like the Trials tire. And I will promise you that there's 400 better tire choices than that for riding through the sand dunes. And there was no problem summiting any dune in Glamis at any angle, however I wanted to. And it's the same thing for Sonora. And I've ridden across the Altar Desert 5 or 6 times, no, maybe 20 times, on various different tires, from Dunlop 606s, which are not very good in the dunes, to Michelin Desert Rallies, to Kenda Parkers. Run them all down there. It's not the tire in the sand. It's not the tire pressure in the sand. It's the way you're riding, 100%. You have no respect for traction and likely are out of balance, period. End of question. It's not the tire. And I explained it as politely as I could in an email, in as short, as few words as I could use, because I just had to move on, but I felt obligated to answer this question. And so come and take my riding school.
Yep.
And then the other thing. So here's the other thing. So Matt, you know how you probably would like to be able to shoot guns better. Just be real proficient with a firearm. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Okay. And you like to sing karaoke a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know what? You should come to me sometime and say, you know what, Jimmy? I want to be a better singer and learn how to shoot guns at the same time. I want to learn both of those things at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going with this kind of like whole rally training thing. Because people go, oh, no, I know how to navigate and I know how to ride, but I can't navigate through the sand dunes. Like, what's the problem? Can you not ride through the sand dunes or you cannot navigate through the sand dunes? Which one? Because I can't teach you to do both. And why would I expect you to? And this is the way that we teach in our schools and different things. The way I teach is identify the problem, attack it with a solution. Get a learning program in to work on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the way I break stuff down even when I'm learning stuff. I want to learn the one thing. You get to the root cause of the problem, figure out what that is, correct that, and then see how you progress from there. And then you'll find out what the problems are. So let's start shooting the gun and singing. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like what are we really working on?
Right.
And and this is the problem with motorcycles. Well, I can't ride very well, and I can't. My bike isn't that good, so I'm just gonna buy a pipe.
Yeah, one of those guys.
This is what I deal with all day long. It's just like, that's neither of those is the problem. Mm-hmm. It's let's really focus on what the problem is. That's what we're here to try to help you with. And when you ask questions in the chat or you give me an answer or something like the really nice guy that zoomed in and was asking about the maintenance, kind of gave him an honest answer. It's like, do I have a maintenance program? Not really. Mm-hmm. I do. I have a very specific maintenance program that's super fluid based on the conditions. And your maintenance program may differ with your special needs. But so what did I tell him? I gave him kind of a baseline and said, here's where we have to start. Because if he told me I'm riding here and I'm doing this, and I could sit there, I could interview him for 30 minutes, and I could tell him exactly how many hours I think he should let his motor oil run for or check his brake. It's just, and in reality, when I think back to that question, which is a really good question, it's like I do most of my maintenance scheduling while I'm washing my bike. As I'm washing my bike, I'm looking at it. There's certain things I look at: brakes, for instance, chains, sprockets, look for loose bolts. And, saw when I was washing the Husaberg today. Yeah. Saw the brake, the brake reservoir thing was loose. What was the first thing we walked back in and did? Fixed it.
Yeah.
So it's like as I wash the bike, I look at it, I give it a thing. When I'm riding it, I'm listening to it. Hey, you making any new noises? Are you performing any different? Mm-hmm. I pulled the air filter off because I knew the air filter was bad from looking at it. Yeah. But I also went inside and was very meticulous about cleaning the air filters. It's become procedural. So it's just kind of everybody's different. Everybody has a unique thing, but there's kind of like this kind of baseline stuff that you can always learn from, and just like, what are we really trying to accomplish? So low RPM, stay on top of the sand, and clutch.
I think Flynn is giving us a new topic to discuss on Better Rider.
Why you don't use your clutch in the sand?
Why you don't touch that thing?
Well, you can. I mean, you do have to at certain times because you need to amplify the power.
Right. But
talk about how to use the clutch on Better Rider. Yeah,
we should talk about that.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm just saying. Yeah.
Victor wants him to put a front disc guard on it. It'll help keep the front end down, from wheeling if you're on a Husaberg. Don't come to me with a problem unless you have a solution.
May not be the right solution, but at least you're thinking about it.
That's well, no. If you're asking about a problem, you should be receptive to getting somebody. If you're asking an opinion, you should be receptive to getting a solution. But if I would tell you I don't know, or I'll say not really sure about this, but this is what I would do.
Yeah.
I'm pretty clear about that, but there's things I know, and it's from experience more than anything else. And I've made some. The best thing about making a mistake is I learn something. In the end, I don't like making mistakes. When things go wrong, I always, when they're going wrong, man, it's not good. It's whatever it is. I don't like being there, and I'm suffering through it, and I'm getting through it, and I'm just not doing my best thinking. And a lot of times, when I'm finally done with that, whatever the wrong is, I literally like to stop, go, what did I learn from this? How could I have made it better? And
Right.
that's how I think, when you start thinking about these motorcycle problems, it's not buy more shit. I mean, it's
Right.
great for the economy,
Yeah.
but ask yourself. Oh, come and take my riding school, by the way. The free riding school guarantee for anybody who somehow lets me know they heard about it on this Tech Talk Taco Tuesday show. This is show number 178. You let me know. Come to my class in a couple weeks. It's on March
11th and 12th.
March 11th and 12th. Let us know through jimmylewisoffroad.com, and I will give you a 6-month money-back guarantee that you will become a much better and more aware rider. And, so there we go.
Cool.
This show would not be possible without the help of Yamaha, Moto, Scott Sports, Climb, DDC, Trail Tech, Fasst Company, Seat Concepts, Bulletproof Designs, and Double Take Mirrors. You can always support us through our Rocky Mountain and Amazon links. Matt, do you have anything else?
Nope. Just,
Where are you singing karaoke at this weekend?
Probably Poorhouse.
The Poorhouse.
We'll see.
Right,
I got swing dancing as well. So
Oh, no.
I dance and I sing and I ride dirt bikes.
Oh, boy.
And I can do physics every now and then.
Right. So with that, we are going to let you guys have a nice evening.